Hello everybody and welcome to Cabaret Secrets. My name's Gary Williams. Today's guest is a genuine YouTube sensation. Her version of Total Eclipse of the Heart, where she impersonates 19 different singers, has received almost 6.5 million views. She's appeared on the Ellen DeGeneres show and Paul O'Grady. She starred in Forbidden Broadway and recently made her Edinburgh Fringe debut. Time Out New York said she's a comic firecracker with a pyrotechnic voice who drives the audience wild. Christina Bianco, welcome to Cabaret Secrets.
Hello, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Tell me, how long did it take you to become an overnight success?
A very long time. No, I've been performing my whole life. I started in theater, community, regional theater, whatever I could get into around age 6 or 7. And started working and auditioned for, paying regional theater jobs as I got older. I grew up just outside of New York City, so there were a lot of opportunities. And I also auditioned for a lot of Broadway shows and all that as a child. So I got in very, very early to the whole theater music scene.
So you were a child actress?
Yeah, definitely. And with that, all the fun of the auditions and the rejection and the classes and my poor parents were basically chauffeurs driving me from school to a dance class or a voice lesson, then to a rehearsal for a show and back again, eating dinner in the car.
Were they pushy parents, or were they sort of going along with your ride, or?
I am still really lucky to have such supportive parents. Both my parents are very musical. Didn't really do much with it. My mother was in a band, and she can still sight read and play the piano far better than I ever could. But from a very young age, they heard me singing. I mean, I was apparently, according to them, I was singing before I could speak, just phonetically. I would sing along, and they knew that I needed to have it as an outlet, at least. It's not a whole career, that I needed to at least. They wanted to encourage it so I could grow, and it was made me so happy. And so they put me in classes that they could from a young age, piano lessons, and as I said, any opportunity for children's theater. It seems to be a lot more now than there was when I had growing up.
Right.
And so I'm a little jealous of that when I see all these kids now, and they have such great, even television shows like Glee and all the High School Musicals. We didn't have that. We did have, however, the classics and the musicals and the movie musicals, Mary Poppins and Sound of Music and Wizard of Oz, and that was my schooling at first.
Did you go to sort of musical theatre school or just classes?
Yeah. No, I ended up going to NYU, Tisch School of the Arts, and some people always ask me why I did that, because I was sort of working in the business at that point. I had my, equity points and all that stuff, and it's quite true, and this is no offense to NYU, it's quite true. I probably could have taken the most expensive classes in singing, acting, dancing, voice and speech, movement, whatever, in New York City, and it still would have cost less than going to NYU. But I wanted the degree, and I also wanted just the experience, the college experience, and
presumably you learned something. It's one thing getting the work, but presumably you learned new skills as well, right?
Yeah, I certainly did. I had some wonderful teachers, and I had some teachers that I didn't love, but that's part of it, because I do believe that's part of it. In our profession, you're going to work with people that change your life, and you want to work with them again and again, and then very often you're forced to work with people that maybe you don't see eye to eye with, but you still have to do it, You do, you have to do it, and you have to find a way to work with it. So a lot of kids in school, I had a little bit of an upper hand because I had been performing. And from New York, it's sort of nothing threw me. I was sort of prepared for it. But a lot of the kids going to NYU for the first time, hitting the Big Apple, they're dealing with a lot of these really abrasive teachers, and they were sort of scared. And I was a little more tough, and I thought, yeah, I'll deal with this. Next semester I won't have this person anymore. So, but it was very helpful, the good and the bad. I'm not trying to say it was all bad. I had so many wonderful teachers and wonderful experiences there. But I just wanted the variety, the good and the bad of it. And as far as academically, I went to the musical theater program at the Tisch School of the Arts, but I really, there was a musical theater program in the School of Education, and that focused more on the music. Well, I was always a singer first. That's what I always considered myself, a singer first. So I thought, no, I don't want that. I feel pretty confident with that. I want to go where there's more emphasis on the acting and the dance and the stuff that I want to work on more. And I wanted to go to RADA, the classical program at RADA, and I had a choice. I had a choice to go to RADA which was like a little longer amount of time and a little more money, or if I doubled up and went to summer school courses, I could have double majored in journalism, and I chose that. So another degree that is sort of pointless to have, impossible work to get. I have a journalism
Maybe one
degree.
day.
But it's
Maybe
helped
one
me.
day.
It's helped me just as a writer and seeing things when I'm creating my own material. It's always helpful to sort of, go back and look at, okay, so how would this lay out? How does this read? How does this play? How does this work? So I don't regret my decision at all.
When did the impressions start?
Impressions started technically that I was aware that I will start doing impressions, here we go, only 6 years ago. But my parents tell me that I was doing voices from a very young age. They wouldn't call them impressions because I wouldn't. I always had a good ear. And so I always say this, so forgive me if you've heard me say this before, but I grew up with a house just filled with music. My mother was musical, my father worked in radio. So every corner of the house was filled with cassettes and records and CDs of different genres of music. And when I would sing along, I would always sort of take on the tone of the style or whoever was singing. And not to pat myself on the back, but that's one of the reasons I think I've been able to work a lot. I never had a job waiting tables. I never had a temp job. I always sang. If it wasn't theater, I was still singing.
But were you taking on these voices because it was almost by accident?
That was it. When I was young, it was completely by accident. And I would never have taken it to the point where someone would say that was a full-on impression. But if I was singing, I don't know how to describe it. So if you're listening to, Bernadette Peters sing a Broadway show tune, or even Annie and Annie, it's more nasal and forward and that way. But if I was listening to Reba McEntire singing country music, it was in the back of my throat and very laid back and very. So the tone of the genre was the first. It sort of was the first thing to inform me about what I was listening to and how to get it in my throat. But it was just by accident that I started to get these impressions. And the first impression I ever truly remember doing and getting a response and thinking, oh, I guess I can sort of do an impression of that person, was Celine Dion. And I was in, oh my gosh, probably my last year of high school, college. And I was singing along to her singing the song, That's the Way It Is, or as Celine says, That's the Way It Is. And I just was making fun of it because I love her, but her pronunciation is so ridiculous, and I was sort of doing that, and everybody was cracking up at this party, and I thought, oh, okay, I thought that, so I have a party trick. That's all I thought.
Because there's a big difference from doing it for fun, for yourself, for your friends, and then doing it where, you're presenting yourself as I do impersonations. I mean, did you really then go away and work hard?
No, it wasn't. I'm really serious.
Love that. No.
No, I mean, I have to tell you, I did when, 6 years ago, I won't give you my life story, but I will tell you that eventually I didn't care as much about theater because I was singing and creating my own work and just so happy to be working and not being told I was too short or not this type or that type. But one of my all-time favorite shows to see growing up was Forbidden Broadway. And one of the reasons I loved it was because the people on that show were so versatile. They could sing a million different styles in one night. So I always loved that show. And just when I sort of sworn off theater for a while, I saw an ad in Backstage magazine in New York with all the audition notices for Forbidden Broadway. And I was out of college. I had just done Dora the Explorer Live national tour. Very glamorous. It was actually pretty great, but it was still a children's show. And I looked at what I wanted to do, and I said, I'm an adult now. I'm a working actor, and I think I could actually audition for this and be right for this, and it wouldn't be embarrassing. I can change my voice a little bit. So, okay, who's on Broadway right now? Let's get to work on this. And that I really...
Just to prepare for the audition.
Just to prepare for the Forbidden Broadway audition, I locked myself in my home, and I worked on Bernadette Peters and Kristen Chenoweth, at the time Kelly O'Hara, old classics like Julie Andrews, and people I knew that Forbidden Broadway had spoofed in the past, like Patti LuPone and Judy Garland and Liza Minnelli. And I thought about current people. The Broadway actress Carrie Butler was doing a lot. So I just made a list on a little Post-it note, and I practiced. And I'm telling you, the most telling thing I ever did was I called my parents, and I said, "Who does this sound like?" And I did about 6, and we'll never forget my mom being like, "That sounds like Bernadette Peters. I didn't know you could do this. Joe, did you know she could do this? I mean, we always knew you could do voices, but that's really good. That's really good." They just,
I thought it was going to, we spend all this money and this is all you can do.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure a little bit of that too, but that was it. I mean, they knew, I think we all knew in my family that I was very good at changing my voice for stylistically, but to actually apply it and say, this is an impression was different. And then, thankfully, I was good at it and I was able to get a lot of nuance.
As I was doing the show 8 times a week, however many times, you were able to really perfect it, these voices
when
and
I
polish it,
started,
and
I
give you
think
more
I was
confidence,
rubbish.
I suppose.
Absolutely. I listened to the Forbidden Broadway soundtrack that I was on. We recorded that so early. I barely knew how I was doing the numbers. I barely knew the lines. My impressions were rubbish. And I hear it now and I think, oh no, it's not good. I don't want anybody to hear that. I do it so differently now. But that's the blessing of doing a show 8 shows a week. And let me tell you, when I auditioned, I just thought, I'll do my best. And I never thought I'd get the part. And let me tell you, when somebody casts you for doing impressions, you learn really quickly.
Yeah.
You get confident really quickly because you have to. You have to be in front of people. And that's something that really, I guess, hit me. You have to do it as if you're completely confident about it.
Yeah, this isn't
There was
just for fun
no
anymore.
time. Material also goes into that show. Material can change in a dime depending on what happened in theater that week.
Yeah.
So impressions would come and go in a heartbeat. They'd have changed. You'd have a favorite line that you say, oh, I can really get the person's tone on this line. Next night, it's completely rewritten.
Great training ground, though.
It's amazing. There's nothing like it. It's such a good boot camp for, I think, every other sort of every theatrical experience. But I love it.
Your big YouTube hit, which was only recorded, I think you put it on a couple of years ago or something, the Total Eclipse of the Heart. Was that last year?
August.
Just last August?
Yeah.
Over 6.5 million views.
Just over a year.
Was that a big shock to you? I mean, it must have been.
Huge shock. I mean...
Really? I mean, you can tell me honestly. I mean,
Oh my God. No. There's nothing I can say to make people believe me, and this is the honest to goodness truth. I clicked a button. I put stuff on the internet for fun.
And it was just that. You just thought, well, let's record this bit of shtick because it was in 54 below that
Yeah,
once.
and let's be honest, it is terrible quality. I mean, trust me, the YouTube comments alone will show you. People are like, I can't hear her. This is so stupid. Tell the crowd to shut up. Well, listen, it wasn't meant to be
Well, that's part of the beauty of it,
fantastic
isn't it?
piece of film. My friend was shooting it over over somebody's head because I wanted to just have a record of it to see how it went.
And how did it? Did you put it up there and it was 100, 200, 300, then it went ballistic, or did it go? I mean, how quickly did that mount up?
This was funny. I could tell really quickly that something was different about this one. I posted a few videos. I'd say that 8 months before that were getting some views, and I thought, who is watching this? And typically it was Forbidden Broadway musical fans.
Like a few thousand.
Yeah. And one of my videos went what they call semi-viral. And it's me singing Katy Perry's Firework in lots of costumes and whatever. And some UK radio stations picked it up, and I actually did something for Capital FM, Capital Breakfast on that. And I thought, oh, there's a market for this. So for the only reason I'm mentioning this is because I thought, people are actually watching this. I didn't think they were, and I should make it easier for them to do so. After that, I made a YouTube channel.
Right.
I only had about 10 videos on it, and only like 3 of them were impressions, but at least I put something out there. That helped, because then it sort of linked up to your Facebook and your Twitter and your stuff. So when I put up the Total Eclipse video, and trust me, I put up so many more videos before that nobody watched. It's just the way it works. But randomly, that one took off. And the reason I could tell it was different so quickly is because my phone was blowing up in all of my areas, in Twitter, on Facebook, on my YouTube. I was getting subscribers to my YouTube channel.
I know
suddenly.
that you got, obviously, you got some TV exposure, I guess, from the success of that. But I'm interested that was all that purely that those hits on YouTube, they just mounted up was it like an organic way, or was there, you got a few thousand, then you got some, I don't know, a TV appearance, and everybody suddenly, it was just this sort of really a true viral video.
Absolutely, but both of the viral videos that I've had, the Total Eclipse and the Let It Go, are completely natural, and I can tell you this because people always try to pitch you and email you saying they can help you make it bigger or do this, or if you do this, it will pitch this, and some people might do that. It might be great for some people. It wasn't for me. No, the Total Eclipse video had 2 million views in under like 3 days.
Wow.
I think that was it.
Wow.
Maybe it was 4 days. I think it was under 3 days. And
That sounds viral.
And right after that, I thought it would sort of subside, and it didn't. It grew naturally to 4 million. After I performed, the video came out in August. September, the end of September, I was on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
Because of the video?
Yeah,
that
so
brought
the
you to
video
their
had already been
attention.
out over a month by the time I performed, and it had over 4 million views by the time I was on Ellen. So then, since then, now, in the past year, it has only gone up, another like 2.5 million.
Small
but
change.
but that's how it works. So you get the surge.
Yeah.
But then the other side of it is my performance on the Ellen DeGeneres show. That video, I don't own that video. It's not on my channel.
Yeah.
That video has 4 million hits.
Yeah.
Because she's so popular. So it's not like it necessarily led to them clicking on my video. They just watched that appearance.
And do you think that kind of exposure, that kind of interest, does it translate, I should say, to people coming to see you perform live? Has it given you marquee value?
Yes. This is what was so shocking to me. I don't know that the Ellen appearance could have done anything but help me because she's so popular, immensely popular. But, and this is not an insult, I'm just saying, on her show, I was put on the show as like the YouTube sensation of the week or the month or whatever.
Yeah.
So I wasn't billed as a professional artist who had her own show. And that was a little weird for me just because I'm not an overnight sensation. Well, with YouTube, I am an overnight sensation, but I have a show. Like, I have actually.
But they don't want to. It sounds better to say, "Wow, you're just this girl."
Because it's so funny. It's like, but you still haven't heard of me, and I certainly am not known for doing impressions and doing this song. But yet, it was still. You don't want to talk about that stuff. So it didn't help me in that regard. It wasn't like people watched that and said, "Oh, she's a wonderful actress. Let's give her work," or let's. Go see her show.
You were performing in Forbidden Broadway at the time.
No, I was performing in a show called Musical at the time.
So did numbers surge after that? Did you see, were people giving you their cash?
I think the producer's going to be angry. Was angry about this because the truth is, I was working. I had asked for a leave of absence for about a month to go do some symphony gigs and do some of my own solo shows. So Musical did not reap the benefits of it, but I did. And I can tell you, so I'm babbling, my gosh, just reliving all this. But the true answer is not only did it give me followers on the internet, but the shocking thing to me is that people then clicked a button to go to my website, clicked a button to see where I was playing, clicked a button and pulled out a credit card to buy tickets.
And the great thing is, with the net, you can see that. You can trace that back.
And I never thought that was possible. And the real killer is, I happened, just on a whim, to have a contact with this lovely, talented man named Ian Stroyer, who said that he thought I would do very well in London and I should play the Hippodrome. And he said, I know you don't think anybody will come, but, we'll just have some fun. If people don't come, we'll cancel the second show and we'll just sort of get you over here and introduce you to some people. And I thought this would be a great idea.
You were friends anyway, or he just kind of got in touch?
He reached out to me on the internet. I think we had some mutual friends via Facebook, but no, he reached out to me more as a business offer than someone who knew the venue, was working at the venue, and saw an opportunity.
We should mention Ian's alter ego.
Ian's alter ego is Vel Michelli, who I'm currently working with here.
A fearsome drag queen.
Fierce is absolutely right.
And fabulous.
Yes, in every way. But at the time, I just knew him as very handsome Ian. And Ian said, you should come with these shows. And I was very scared nobody would come. My shows are, I think, September 8th, 9th, and 10th that year, so something like that.
This is what, last year?
Last September. And my Total Eclipse video went viral on August 11th or August 14th.
Perfect timing.
And all of my shows sold out. They added 2 more, and they sold out.
So do you already, or
and
could you?
It was before I was on Ellen, I'd like to say. That was just the video.
Right. So could you see yourself, or are you already resenting the label of YouTube sensation, impersonator?
I was really worried about that. But no, the answer is no. And I have to say that's because, it sounds so cheesy, but because my followers and my fans, the majority of them, like what I do as a whole. They have come to see my live shows, and they know that I don't just do impressions, and they appreciate that I don't just do impressions, and they like the songs that are in my own voice. They like getting to know me. They like that I have other ways of entertaining them, and they appreciate that. So I don't feel like a one-trick pony. They're not forcing me to just do the one thing. It does get difficult when I want to post YouTube videos because some people want the exact same thing. Do what you did before. But if I do what I did before, they're going to get tired of it very quickly. It's going to get old very quickly. So I'm trying to embrace the YouTube sensation title.
It's like a singer that has a big hit and then they spend the rest of their career trying to leave that hit and never do it live. It's sort of it's what gave them the success, but it ends up being dragging them down also as well.
I'm very reluctant to do Total Eclipse of the Heart anymore, because not only have I done it on the internet, I did it on Ellen, and I did it on the Paul O'Grady show. So now that's it. I mean,
but people still want to hear it, I guess.
They do. So. But the good thing for me is that I had another video go viral this year, which is the Let It Go video, which is a little more recent. So I choose my battles. At the end of the show, I can pick one of those to do. Yeah. And again, you find other ways of doing it. You can give a little snippet of it without doing the whole song. I certainly don't want to. I certainly want to make my fans happy.
Yeah. Your collaboration with Ian ended up becoming Devolution, which you're doing at the Edinburgh Fringe. Yeah. And that show came together pretty quickly.
It did. You know, I was, as I've just said, I had a very successful run of my show at the Hippodrome, a show that I put together called Diva Moments. I'd done it in the U.S., at Birdland, and some regional theaters, in the West Coast, and on luxury cruise lines, and it's been such a great show for me, and I really wanted to tour it here in the UK. I still do, and I'm looking to do that. We're moving to do that. But I wasn't sure if doing a run, 20-something shows in 20-something days at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival was right for that show.
Why?
Cutting the show to an hour is difficult, and to get everything in would be difficult. To have the musicians that I wanted would be difficult and more expensive, and I just wasn't sure it was the right time. It sounds silly, but also because I'd done the show so successfully in London. Most people do that after Edinburgh. Do you know what I mean? So I wasn't sure that it was the right thing to bring, but I wanted to do something. I'd always wanted to perform here. And also, I should say vocally, yes, it would have been doing it 8 shows a week I could probably do, but 22 shows in a row without a day off, I don't think I could have done. And that's what my schedule had to be. So I was just talking about it and thinking about it, and Ian was talking about how he always wanted to do the Fringe. And he decided, because he's a go-getter, to sort of make some calls and see what interest would be or whatever. And there were a few people that expressed interest in possibly producing one or both of us, and because I don't know many people here in the UK, so he was been really great in opening some doors for me, and it just worked out perfectly. That we just thought, if we could join forces sort of and did something together, we'd be able to have a bit of fun, do a bit of what each of us do, and give a taste of our shows. So we're getting to promote our own shows, but while doing something that's totally collaborative. We didn't want it to be a tag team show, like first you sing and then I sing, and then we wanted it to be more.
I was surprised what a collaboration it was. I was expecting, because I'd heard about you, and I was expecting to see you with I didn't know what else, something else. I didn't know who this Velmacelli character was. But it really is a two-hander, isn't it? It's a true collaboration, and the better for it, I think.
Yeah, well, the other thing is, when you have your own show, and you have a lot of time, and you have, a room with perfect sound, and sound is a big thing for me with the impressions, and you just never know what you're going to get when you come to various venues, and it all just seems like we could really get the best of everything if we collaborated. It just seemed like we could work it out and feed off each other, and I don't know. I think my target audience is quite broad. I mean, most people think it's just a bunch of lovely musical theater boys just clicking my video, and I do believe that they're the audience that propelled me and pushed me. But since appearing on the Paul O'Grady show, I have a lot of mums and grandparents and a lot of people that are a little, I want to say older, but just their tastes are a little more sophisticated, a little different. And so I knew I couldn't do a show that was just going to appeal to the teeny boppers that were watching on YouTube and wanted me to do a Britney Spears and Katy Perry impression. I had to do something that was also going to appeal to the people that wanted to hear Shirley Bassey and Judy Garland. Now that's what I do on my solo shows, but I'm given enough time where I really get to cover all of that. And so here, 60 minutes is really hard. And it is even harder when you split it up between two people. But Velma, as a being, provides something in the show that then I didn't have to do. And then I provided something that Belmont didn't have to do. We sort of shared the wealth.
You seem to be very happy to share the stage time with each other.
Yeah, well, I think that Ian is an incredibly talented performer, and thankfully he thinks the same about me, and so there's no competition between us. I mean, not only are we a man and a woman, or a woman and a man in drag, but we're...
The size thing's great, isn't it?
Yeah, the height differences.
And you're tiny.
It's just comedy. I mean, how could you not want to work together?
I love the fact that you didn't refer to the size. You did. It was all the better for you not trying to milk that.
That was a conscious decision. My whole life, everyone is always telling me how short I am, so it's... Trust me, I know. So I figured this time that we would sort of leave it alone. And it's great. It's a great visual. I mean, I feel like I'm not doing a good job of explaining sort of why we decided to do it. But, you want to be creative. And we appreciated each other's talent. And we had a lot of the same ideas. We both wanted to come here. And we just thought, I think it'd be great if we combined forces. And when we did... we were then able to get a venue we really wanted at a great time, and I think everybody got excited about the collaboration.
Because let's face it, as performers, we're often, we have egos, and we have our own idea about how we want to do a show and how we want to present ourselves, and it can be difficult to let go of that.
Yeah, it can, but that's a lovely thing, and the lovely thing about working with Ian and also our music director, Joe Louis Robinson, is we're a good team. We know Joe has worked with Ian for a very long time, so they know each other inside and out. And when I came to London, Ian hooked me up with Joe to be my MD at the Hippodrome, and then he just played for me again at Royal Albert Hall's Elgar Room. So there's a familiarity with each other, and we sort of know each other's bits and what goes well together.
You're listening to Christina Bianco with me, Gary Williams, on the Cabaret Secrets podcast. In the next edition, we'll be talking technical on how Christina creates her shows, and we'll get a sneak peek into Party for One, her new show set to debut in London this September. Thank you for listening to this Cabaret Secrets podcast. If you've got any comments or questions, please visit cabaretsecrets.com, where you'll also find details of the Cabaret Secrets book, an indispensable guide on how to create your own show, travel the world, and get paid to do what you love.